Blessings, everyone. This is Chris Kendall from the rawadvantage.com, registered holistic nutritionist, raw food lifestyle coach, and raw chef. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Z, a raw vegan bodybuilder. We're going to go into all of that. Welcome, Z.
Baby, I like it raw. Raw Advantage likes it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Hey.
Yeah, I
Hey.
love it. I love it. I got to share some of your expertise because you got a list of amazing accomplishments, and I want to let everyone know right up front. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of raw vegan bodybuilding. You good for that?
Yeah. Good for it.
Awesome. So Rezenkia Lee, aka Z, is a professional raw vegan natural bodybuilder. She obtained her pro card in 2021 with the Fitness Universe Federation. She's obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in dance, performance, and choreography, and has earned her certification in Pilates Mat training. She has also certifications as a Reiki master teacher and practitioner, and is foregoing her MS and PhD ND in natural health and holistic nutrition. She has 16 years of fitness training and nutrition experience with fitness gyms within the northeastern and southeastern regions of the country. She's the owner of Rezenkia Lee LCC and owner of Zen Institute of the Arts. You're passionate about people through your expertise, enthusiasm, and caring personality. You're changing lives one person at a time through health, wellness, and fitness. Definitely a kindred spirit. And you can find her on Instagram at Rezenkia Lee and on her website at rezenkialee.com. So thank you so much for coming on with me, and really excited to talk with you. Definitely a joy to connect through our mutual friend, Dr. Doug Graham. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am doing dang good. I've had an amazing day. I've been active, out and about, skateboarding. Yesterday I worked out, and today was a down day. How about you?
Man, I've been very, very busy, but productive. And as I was sharing with you earlier, before we got started, just opportunities are just flooding in, and it's an adjustment, but it's good. So I haven't worked out yet, but that's what I'll be doing after we're done here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I already ate, so I'm pumped. I'm getting ready.
You're all charged up. You're all charged up. So let's start there. I'm wondering how many times a week do you work out?
Six.
Six times a week.
6 days. 5 days strength training, 1 day active day,
Yeah.
cardio only. Well, I say cardio only, but sometimes that doesn't happen. I still throw in some strength training, and then 1 day fully rest. I'm not moving at all. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long are most of your training sessions?
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds good. I like to spend some time in the gym. I'm not 6 days in a week in the gym. I was at one time when I was recovering from a car accident, but that was a totally different story. But I'm curious now, let's go back a little bit. How did you get into raw food? And also, how did you get into bodybuilding? So maybe bodybuilding first and then into raw food.
And it actually happened in that way. So I got into bodybuilding in 2014.
Yeah.
I did my first show. I placed in the genre of bikini, 6 out of 30 in my category. And then after that, I took a slight hiatus just to really figure out how I wanted to do it. After that show, and it was local where I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. After doing that show, it really exposed me to the world of bodybuilding and the norm, right? The nutritional component, the workout component, the mental component, the emotional component, all of it. And I was like, you know what? Next time I do this, it's going to be done the way that I want to do it. It's going to be done in a way that seems natural for me. And it's going to be, I want to be at a place where whenever that is, I'm able to step on the show whenever I want to. So I don't have as long of a training period before hitting a stage, right? I was like, I just want to be naturally fit to, if I decide to go on the stage in 2 weeks, I can, right? Yeah. And so that was a vow that I made to myself. And so in 2020, through my schooling, I came across Dr. D's book, 80-10-10 from one of my courses. And I reached out to him, and he's so lovely. He reached out to me like in no time, and we connected from that point on. And I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to train, but I want to train as a raw vegan competitor.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just put our minds together and we developed a plan, and we just did it. And I believe I trained from January 2020 to my show was in August. Was it August? I think it was in August. Nope. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, there was a show in August and then a show in September, like the next month. I did 2 shows that year. But yeah, it was back to back. But anyway, so that's what I did. And I had a lot of time to really see how my body was responding to being raw. Prior to that, I was just vegan. And that was back in 2017. And then prior to that, I was eating according to my blood type. That was 2015.
Yeah. What is your blood type?
O negative.
Oh, so yeah, the O is like super meat and carnivore-ish more.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, super high protein.
Yeah. And how about that, right? And I'm raw vegan.
Yeah, that's quite a switch. So I'm curious, going from like heavy meat and high animal protein to vegan, what were the shifts you felt? And when you went to vegan, were you feeling like I need to be focusing on protein? Were you getting lots of beans and tempeh and all this kind of stuff? Or how was the switch from that kind of a O type blood type diet to the vegan kind of diet? And what prompted that switch?
Just me listening to my intuition and listening to my body. Really. So to talk about the transition, so when I was only eating according to my blood type, I had gotten, it wasn't the cause of doing that, but I had gotten sick. I don't know how, maybe from a coworker, I don't know. But I'd gotten sick, and I had like a little virus, a little bug. And when I recuperated, I realized I wasn't eating meat. I was just eating everything else but meat. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And I was just eating what my mind said to grab and eat, right? And in doing that, I also came across the documentary of Forks Over Knives.
Yeah.
And that
Good one.
blew my mind. Yeah, it blew my
Yeah.
mind. And that was in 2017, February 2017. And I was like, you know what? There's something to this. And then as I came to, I chose, I said, you know what? I'm going to try a little piece of chicken. So I tried a little piece of chicken, and then I received like some sharp pains in my chest.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, this is different. I'm not used to feeling that. So that was it. I was like, all right, I'm sorry, body. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing that again. So after that happened, I didn't go back, and I just stayed on the track of being, vegan. And then working out and being vegan was different as well. If I were to compare it to, having a high, meat protein diet, my energy level was very different. When I was on a higher meat protein, I don't shame or say one is better than the other. I know what's most optimal for the human body, but in comparison to what other people are doing, I say, listen, everyone's on their own path in life. So whatever path you're on, you do that. You listen to what you need to do for yourself, and then the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? But for me, when I was eating meat, I was always hungry. I was fatigued a lot, actually. I would get tired more quickly. And then when I transitioned to being vegan, I didn't experience that. I also started doing more nuts. And that was good. It served its purpose. But then when I became raw vegan, especially now, and when training particularly, the fats, it's not good for your joints. Like I noticed that I would get a little pain here and there from just increasing my fat level. But when I did away with the fats, and I just mainly focus on my fruits and my vegetables, particularly my fruits,
Yeah.
I didn't have those issues with my joints. Because you think about it, it's like you're an athlete. It's like, you know, you're lifting really heavy repeatedly, you know, throughout the week, and you're coming back to it, and you're trying to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Your joints, you're gonna feel it. So like, this is so much better for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is so much better for me. I'm not feeling it in my joints. And for me, it's like experience is everything. I take information and I digest it, and then I do. I see how it works for my body, for me. And then I can share from my experience. Okay, this is how it was when I was eating high protein, meat protein. This is how it was when I was just eating, you know, cooked foods, vegan, but cooked. And this is how I felt when I was eating fully raw. And this is how I felt when I was eating fully raw without the nuts, right? You know what I mean? With fats. So like on an athletic level, right? But everything serves its purpose. It just depends on, you know, what your goals are, what your individual goals are. But this is the best I've ever felt. Like my definition is great. I'm happy about my aesthetics, what I see. In terms of if I were to step on stage and what the judges are looking for. It's just been really good. I have really good energy. I sleep well. Interesting fact, I find that I don't need as many hours of sleep when I've taken away my fats. And it's interesting, when I've taken away
the fat.
So I don't need many hours of sleep, and it's very shocking to me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now. I had a full day yesterday. I should be more tired than this. But yeah, it's a thing. It's real. But I have really good energy. I feel great. Again, my joints feel great.
I really had the same experience, not going from like a blood type diet, but just kind of a standard American diet, and having knee pains and joint pains and progressively getting worse, and then going towards vegan and vegetarian and raw, and those joint pains disappearing, and like that higher hydration and easier digestive load and higher nutrition and everything you need for all the good stuff. It really helps a heck of a lot. So I'm curious, how did you find the difference in the training? Because you did kind of mention like energy and fatigue and stuff, but did you know, going from the blood type to the vegan and then to raw vegan, can you take us a little bit through how maybe your exercise routine changed? Did frequency change? Did weight change? You know, throughout that journey, have you found like your strength changing much or anything like that?
Yeah, so great question. Recovery. I want to talk about that. My recovery time is quicker now. I don't need as much time to rest before hitting that same muscle group again. Typically I would hit, like, say if I did shoulders on Tuesday, I wouldn't return back to shoulders until the next Tuesday, right? But nowadays I can hit shoulders. I can hit one muscle group twice within the week, within 7 days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And like, and not feel super sore or have all the, you know, the lactic acid buildup. I don't have, again, my recovery time is way quicker, which is great for results and for building. What else is there? It's just, I have to make sure that I'm taking in my carb. I need those carbs for my fuel to get me going. I need it. What else is there? And surprisingly enough, even with watermelon, like I can push really hard with watermelon, although the carb content is a lot lower, but that water content, I believe, really gets me going. I mean, minus the multiple restroom breaks I gotta take between sets, but that's okay.
It is pretty watery. It does get you that way. Sometimes that's why I go for the bananas, and occasionally I have banana dinners, because then I don't have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Right.
Some of us have made some jokes that Doug could make a killing if he had some 80-10-10 diapers for perhaps those bathroom breaks. Being hydrated is really, really good, but sometimes you have to go more than you want to.
You gotta go, you know what I mean? But it's great. It's great. Your kidneys are working well, they're flushing out, you know what I mean? Like your body is functioning in its highest optimal level. And that's what I want to encourage everyone to live for, is to, Dr. Graham says it all the time, to not survive, but thrive. You want to thrive on this lifestyle. You know what I mean? And I'm done with the surviving thing. And not only like with my training, but just mentally and just every aspect of my life, feeling like I'm surviving, gotta go. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm gonna share this spiritually, like it's so interesting that when you really listen to your intuition, and it's interesting how when you make one decision, that domino effect, how it can affect the other aspects of your life. Yeah. And it really, really did. Like when you think about doing a cleanse, like this lifestyle is very cleansing. Yeah. And when you're on a cleanse, those things that doesn't serve you, they have to go away. They're gonna
come up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether that's mindset, perspective, people, jobs, you start to see how you're elevating, and you're like, oh, well, if I'm, creating this environment internally, how else can I create this environment externally, right? And then you just start to see things on a whole nother vibrational wave. Yeah, things have to continue to shift and move because you're no longer where you were before, frequency-wise. You're no longer there. But anyway, that was a shift. My bad.
No, that's good. I mean, I think it's important for people to hear that, and major perspective shifts and major restructuring of your life, and a desire to level up, not because like you think you should, because you genuinely want to. It seems like it's a pretty big norm within raw food, and people feel more in touch with their higher self and with nature and with each other. And I don't know about you, but I've found a lot more synchronicities and like amazing kind of things popping up more often. Especially in my first few years abroad, it was just like a drastic shift. Like, oh my gosh, like, are you kidding me? This is pretty amazing. And I see that all around with so many people into raw food. Have you experienced the same?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the details, but yes.
Yeah. You see the magic of life a little bit more, right? When you're just full in it and you got that goodness pumping through your body, and your perspective shifting to more connection rather than separation, which, I mean, it's just beautiful.
Exactly. And just that level of, or increasing level of gratitude and appreciation.
Yes.
And knowing how to, that's a tool, man. Yeah. That is a tool.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. People need to be aware of that tool of gratitude and appreciation, how many things can unlock by utilizing that key, right?
Absolutely.
But that's a whole other conversation. But yes.
There's many side roads this can go down for sure. There's a lot of fun stuff, It's like this wild ride is crazy, but when you realize you're a creator, and I think raw food can take people out of a victim mentality of things happening to them and realizing I'm actually creating my health. Like bad health doesn't just happen to me. I can actually create my health, It's such a beautiful and powerful thing.
Such a beautiful thing. Oh my gosh. And like, I tell people, how can I say? I have friends, many different ages, right? My younger friends are like, oh, wow, you look good for your age. How does it feel to be, I'm 38. How do you feel to be 38? How does it feel? I said, well, I've never been 38 before, so it feels pretty great. Not in this time, I've never been 38 before, so I can say it feels pretty great. You know what I mean? And so, but and they're like, would you ever go back? I'm like, never in a million years. I would not want to go back. I would not want to relive or have to figure things out. Like where I'm at right now, it's just so amazing. And being, how can I say, changing my lifestyle to where it is now, it's just I can see how, for personally, all of my life, just growing up from childhood, adolescence, and young adulthood, all of these things has brought me to this place where I'm at now. I've always been on a quest for
Yeah.
understanding how to better myself,
Yeah.
my health, particularly, how to better myself. I've never had any illnesses. I had asthma when I was really, really young, but that wasn't really major. But in my family, there's a lot of diseases and illnesses, and I wanted to break that. And one thing I did also realize that in raw people that I've met or I've researched that are raw vegan, majority of them, they were trying to find something to help cure a disease or an illness, a sickness. And
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to wait for that to be me. I want to use preventative care and make some changes now so that that is not my future. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so that was my reason. I'm like, I don't want that to be. It's just makes it 1 + 1. It's
Yeah.
2. It makes sense to me. I'm like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what I thought about my longevity in life. Like, I want to be 60 and like Dr. D 72. I think he's 72. I don't want to put his business out there, but he's in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I want to be like that. I want to
He's
be,
competing.
whatever,
Yeah. He's,
hitting it, looking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you can do that. You
Yeah.
can do that when you're putting the right things in your body. You're creating the right environment in your body. And then in doing that, you're creating the right environment outside of you. And it's more than one component. It's more than one aspect. I want to share that with people. It's more than that. But if my aesthetics is bringing people in, their curiosity, then let that be the doorway to bring people in to learn more about being raw vegan.
Absolutely. Yeah, 'cause there's that misconception that you can't do it as a raw vegan, or that you can't put on muscle, or X, Y, and Z, right? So it's good to stamp those myths out and show, that it's not only possible, but it feels the best. And having that experience of different ways of doing it and being able to say, like, I feel my best here, I'm performing my best here, I'm on the pro circuit here, I'm recovering amazing and all that stuff. It's testament.
It is. It is. It is. And when we spoke a week ago, 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
I had shared with you my experience of being on the stage, and that was not a natural show.
Yeah.
And how I placed 5. This was nationals. I placed 5th in my division, and I felt pretty good about that because I knew that I potentially could have been the only one that was natural, and I knew that I was the only one in that entire competition that was raw vegan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt really good because the judges at that time, one of their comments, their critiques for me was that I wasn't taking advantage of my supplements, right?
Yeah.
And supplements, and I was like, what supplements? I'm not taking any supplements, but I'm just listening. I'm listening, and when I asked my coach about it, I shared what they had said. He was like, yeah, that's what they mean by that. And I was like, oh. And then he was like, take it as a compliment that, you're on stage with these women. They're phenomenal women, but you're on stage with them. It's a different playing field. Yes, it's different, but you're doing it in a totally different way, and you can still show up you can still show up at a place that is competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In your division, that's competitive. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I can.
Awesome.
And so it just changed my mind to say, what else can I do? Right?
Yeah.
What else can I do? But it's very scientific and strategic in terms of, your calories in, calories out, and knowing when to put in a certain amount of calories when you're about to hit that stage, But yeah, I just wanted to share that. A little
That's
tidbit.
awesome. That is super awesome. And it kind of actually makes me wonder too, when you're up there doing that, like, do the people around you, do some other competitors, are they curious? Have they found out, or have they said anything about you being a raw vegan, or has it not really come up, or like, yeah,
Yeah, good question. So it may come up in conversation because think about it now. Like,
yeah,
all right, so it's the day of the competition. Usually everyone's hungry,
yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
everyone's hangry,
yeah.
and they're
They're
dehydrated.
cutting. Yeah,
They're weak. They're fatigued.
yeah,
These women, these athletes are fatigued and they're tired, but yet they have to get on stage and show their best,
yeah,
being at that state of mind and in their bodies. And I'm like, this isn't very healthy.
yeah.
In my perspective,
Mhm.
this isn't very healthy. But in that setting, you have little conversations here and there, like, oh, I can't wait until after the show's over, I'm gonna have a cupcake, or I have or I have a cake waiting for me. I already had my husband put it to the side. I already have my friend put it to the side for me. I'm gonna have a big pizza, and they're thinking about what they're gonna eat right after the show.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're hungry? Well, I just had some pineapples
Yeah. Yeah.
before I stage. I'm not hungry at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have some serotonin. I'm feeling happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling deprived
Yeah.
and dehydrated and hungry and fatigued. I'm not feeling that because I'm fueling my body and my mind, my hormones. I'm fueling it with the right source so that I can come on stage and look alive and give it my all. You know what I mean? Opposed to faking it. You know what I mean? Relying on adrenaline, right? I don't have to rely on adrenaline is there, but I don't have to rely solely on that. Like I'm relying on my fuel. Yeah.
And it's awesome
But
too. It sounds like you've kind of achieved your goal to be stage ready, like pretty much at the drop of a hat. And you're like, I've definitely 110% found with the raw vegan lifestyle is the easiest to maintain your optimal body weight and a thin, lean, kind of ripped look. But also to be able to gain muscle if you really do the work and put the time in, like I, I've always been a low body fat percentage with raw food, except for one time I was kind of depressed and overate on purpose, kind of on purpose,
yeah,
but other than
that's
that,
not,
like I've been as low as 165 and as high as 200 and still at a low body fat percentage, just
that's
with the
not.
training and working out and recovering.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So
so I'm
yeah,
curious
that's
too, when you were doing the blood type diet and then you kind of went to vegan and to raw vegan, what was your nutritional mindset between there too? Like when you were doing one where you're really focusing, thinking like this animal protein is the good stuff, and when you got into the veganism, were you kind of thinking again like, I really need to make sure I'm getting my protein. This is dangerous now. And I'm guessing when you started training with Dr. D and he has 80-10-10, was there some kind of aha moment, or was there any kind of discussions about protein and your needs in that? Like, how did that progression go in your nutritional understanding? Because I see that you've been trained in nutrition and are continuing studying that. What was that kind of timeline?
what was that timeline like? Well,
Maybe not timeline, but progression.
progression, yeah. So departmentalized. So my mindset was very departmentalized. It wasn't holistic,
Mhm.
whole. Um, and so and it would make sense because my food was compromised. So
Yeah.
I was, getting different sources of nutrients from different places, boom, boom, boom. They were all isolated, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so coming from which is the mentality of, the Western world, Western medicine is all departmentalized. It's not a holistic point of view, right? And so, and everything serves its purpose.
Yeah.
And so, disclaimer, gotta make the disclaimer.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And
I do the same thing.
gotta say that. But but yeah, so switching the mindset and how can I say understanding food, whole foods.
Yeah.
That's when the switch turned on for me.
Yeah.
Because then I understood that my food is not compromised. So why do I have to treat it in a departmentalized way.
Yeah.
When it's already whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, so when that switch turned on for me, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then also doing it, witnessing the difference in my body and how I felt. I'm like, you know, and just how can I say, having to think, always be in the mind all the time. Like, oh, I got to think about this. I got to think about that. I got to think. And then when I, again, understood what whole food meant and how it, you know, really takes care of us, our bodies, I didn't have to think so much.
Yeah.
And Dr. D, he said something. Yeah. And Dr. D was like, your food is already complete. It's already made in its whole form. You have to trust that.
Yeah.
God he didn't make a mistake. He, source, she, whomever God is to you, did not make a mistake by creating this food for us, right? Didn't make that mistake. And so I was like, yes, you are absolutely right. I can trust that. I wasn't trusting my food source before. Yeah. That's why I was here.
Yeah.
I had to think about this. I had to think about how I'm going to get that. You know, I was in here because there was a lot of doubt, and I knew that it was compromised, and I had to create the wholeness within my food. But again, understanding what whole food is, I could trust that. And by trusting that, I created a better relationship with food. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And we got a good thing going now. We got a long-term commitment, and we're doing well.
That sounds like you're in a good relationship with food and with yourself. Yeah. Isn't it so beautiful when you're eating enough whole, fresh, ripe, raw plant foods? Yes. You are satisfied and you're not craving other stuff. Like I can so identify with what you're saying. When I was on a sad diet, even when I was stuffed, I was thinking about something else and wanting to snack on stuff. And I always wanted snacks. And now I just want to eat giant meals, and I don't want to snack in between because I'm so excited to eat a big meal of something, you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then for me, being that I'm always like moving.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about gassing up my car so that it can take me where it needs to go. And then I can gas up again if I have another trip, meaning I'm about to work out again for the day. So for me, I like to eat according to where I'm going, what I'm about to do for that day. You know what I mean? And then that's pretty much it. And then I wait till the next big trip to fuel up again, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm curious, when you went from vegan to raw vegan and started, especially because it sounds like you kind of went vegan, raw vegan, but higher fat, and then from higher fat to lower fat. Is that accurate? When you talked to Dr. D, or was it not really higher fat raw for a while?
Yeah, so good question. Yeah. So initially, I wasn't really doing any fats because I was training, right? And so we needed the fat percentage to decrease. So I wasn't doing any fat. However, after the show, though, is when I started implementing fats in there. And then I was like, okay, this feels different. It's good. I feel satisfied and, you know, all that stuff. But then I realized I'm still not making the mark. I'm still not hitting it the way that I want to. And so that's when I started to do away with the fats and keep it very, very low. Now I don't even do it. I just don't. Eventually, yeah, maybe it's a special event. Maybe I'll throw in some type of fats, but I don't crave it. I'm just happy about. I'm happy about my fruit. I'm happy about my vegetables. My little mac and cheese situation. I can share about that a little bit later. Yeah, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy about that, right? Yeah. And so that makes me feel, and it makes me feel good to know that I'm doing right by my body. Like when I wake up in the morning, I know that I'm gonna listen. Yeah, I'm gonna look phenomenal. I'm gonna feel phenomenal. And let's be honest, when you look good, you feel good. Yeah, you do. Yeah. You do.
At least on this lifestyle, I'll tell you, because there could be somebody saying, well, there's like fashion models that smoke and snort cocaine to look thin, and maybe someone will say they look great, but they probably don't feel great inside. But definitely testament here, testament here, and when you're fueling your body properly and getting to sleep and actually really loving yourself, thought, word, and
Yeah,
action, it's going to reflect, and you'll be able to see that reflection back.
exactly. Well said. I could not have said that better than what you just did. Yes, especially when you love on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because even in this whole, a lot of bodybuilders, they have this whole, dysmorphia, I believe it is, with the
Body.
image of how they think. Yeah, with how they think they look compared to what they really look like. But in their minds, they look totally different. And I've dealt with that. Like I've dealt with a lot of criticism of being a woman, a lot of criticism, body shame, being a dancer, professional dancer, body shaming, when I was in college, like undergrad, my being told by certain authorities that, I was, too muscular to be a dancer and that I needed to lose, muscle mass to be hired as a professional dancer. And so, just trying to fit into everyone's box.
Yeah.
Right. And not your own, not understanding how you want to be, what is your best for you. And yeah, that's been my journey as well. Again, being a woman and being a professional dancer and then a bodybuilder, all these things. But yeah, I am living my best life. Let me tell you, Chris,
Yeah.
I am living my best life.
I love it. I love it. That's what it's all about. Screw the rest. At the end of the day, it's you're living with, right?
That's right. That's right.
Got to make your decisions. And
That's right.
It sounds like you're making a lot of really damn good decisions.
Yes, I am. And it feels great because I know I have my team working with me, It's just great. It's just great.
So when you first went into raw food and your training and stuff like that, did you feel any like lull in performance or gains as you learned how to eat enough food and all that kind of stuff? And if not, did you like right from the beginning just pound back food, or what was your experience with that? Because I know sometimes for some people in the beginning of a raw food diet, they have a hard time even getting enough calories. And I imagine if you're really busy, you needed to get enough calories. So what did that look like for you?
Great question. I found myself in my mind, because again, I hadn't at the time developed a healthy relationship with food. So in my mind, I thought I was always hungry.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm hungry, I gotta eat. I'm about to work out, I gotta eat. I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. I gotta eat. So I was, in my mind, always hungry, and I felt like I couldn't eat enough.
Yeah.
And then I was like bloated because I'm taking in all this fiber, right? So I'm bloated, while working out. I'm bloated, in between workouts, because I'm always eating. And I'm like, you know what? This can't be it either. I need to figure this thing out. And it takes time because you have to understand your body.
Yeah.
You have to understand your body. Take time to understand your body and to listen to it. And it took me some time. And then I finally figured out, and then you have your, work life, balance. You have all of it. And you're like, how can I eat? And I work at this time. I can't eat around the clock and work. Like, how does this work? And it's just a lot, right? And so for me personally, I've been through so many different transitions professionally. And yeah, like all I can say is at the beginning, it was hard because I was eating a lot. And most bodybuilders, they're always eating around the clock. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm supposed to eat like this because that's what we do. We eat around the clock.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to build, we're trying to grow. But then that changed.
Yeah.
Then, like recently, I started eating OMAD, 1 meal a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes twice a day, just depends again on my level of activity.
Yeah.
If I know I'm going to work out really hard, which is every day, usually, I eat before. I eat before because I want my body to utilize all those calories, and I want to be able to go to bed, nice without anything on my stomach. I want to wake up in the morning ready to go, ready for my next meal. You know what I mean? The start of the day. And so, and I don't want to have have to think about eating all the time. I just want to fuel up my tank to get me where I need to go throughout the day. I come back home, I'm done, boom, 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 I'm retired for the day. I don't have to think about eating again and then allowing that food to digest. Mind you, when you are eating whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic, the digestion time is a lot smaller. That window is smaller. But at the same time, I know myself, and I know that it's not the best unless it's the weekend for me, because I'll stay up late and I have an early morning. That's going to mess up my night routine. So I can't do that. I have to eat earlier so that I can stay on track with my routine every day and effectively and efficiently get things done. Because if not, it's going to throw me off for the next day, personally.
Yeah.
Facts. So I typically do like my 2 meals, my evening meal at night on the weekends, because I know I can stay up a little bit later. But in the weekday, not about it. My 1 meal a day, I get it in and I eat until I'm absolutely full. I might take a little nap to help with that digestion a little bit, and then I'm ready to go.
And then you work out after that nap?
That's the best workout. That's the best workout, Chris. Like, if you eat, you take a little nap. When you wake up, listen, those carbs are ready to work for you.
Yeah.
They are.
You feel extra energy and charge right up for it.
Yes. I'm trying to tell you. That's it. That's the secret right there.
So what does an average day then look for you on one of those days, an OMAD day, and what does it look like for a 2-meal day? And before we go into that, did it take you a while on raw food before you felt like you could get enough calories on 1 meal or 2 meals a day, or how did that go?
Yeah, it took me a little while because I had to figure out my workout. I had to figure out how to truly tweak what I'm doing to still have, enough fuel to go hard and to go heavy and to give it my all. This is an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know what I mean? So I had to figure that out. And then what else is there? Again, understanding that relationship with food. Like, for me, I don't feel like, the instant gratification, like, okay, I just did something amazing. Now I need to reward myself.
Yeah.
No, I feel like, and that's fine, to each his own. But for me, again, creating that relationship with food, for me, I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I just need to, again, that analogy, fuel up my tank for where I'm going. I don't need more than that for just where I'm going, and I'm good.
Yeah.
That works for me. So with that being said, I had to figure out, strategically my workout regimen and what type of day, like my workload for the day. The workout is one part of my day. I still have to work, my mental stamina to get things done. I'm in school. I need that mental stamina to figure things out, answer these exam questions, corresponding via email, text, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
got a lot going on.
So
you got to be.
You're right. So I need enough fuel for my entire day. And I don't need to take pit stops. Like, I'm good. So that's what I had to figure out. I had to figure out my workout regimen, what I'm doing in the gym, and how to do it in the gym effectively, and how to still have energy for my day off of that 1 meal in the early afternoons. Typically, I like to eat like anywhere from 11 to 1 o'clock, or maybe 12 to 2. Around that time of day. That works for me. Earlier than that doesn't really work. It has to be like noon, a little bit before noon. So 1 or 2. But and that's it. And then after that, I'm like, let's rock and roll. But it took a while to get to that place because of life factors. Life changes all the time. Your schedule may change. Something might pop up, boom, 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 where there's no consistency with your day. So once I developed the consistency with my day and with my schedule, then I knew how to properly fuel myself for my day.
Sailing after that. It's funny. My day varies based around skateboarding sometimes, and I go to an indoor skate park here, and it's like, oh, some days I skate at 10 a.m. and some days it's like 8 at night, and it causes a little inconsistency in when I'm eating, what I'm eating. But it's nice to have a steady kind of flow with what you're doing and be able to do that. So it sounds like you've really found your flow with that.
Yeah, yeah. And that was just recently. I'm trying to tell you, it's something that I have to like consciously work on every day because life brings new adventures, you know?
Absolutely. Adventures, opportunities, curveballs, it's all a part of it, right?
All of it, all of it. Yeah.
So what does an average big meal for you look like on the OMAD days? And then what does it look like on the weekends when you have 2 meals a day? Like what are you eating and what's your ballpark of calories, kind of stuff like that?
Yeah. I noticed that my norm for me, just to maintain a good weight, is like 1,200 calories for me, and I'm good. Like I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm hungry. I don't feel like I need more. Unless I'm doing a two a day
Yeah.
situation, which doesn't happen too often. But yeah, but 1,200 calories is good for me
Mm.
with a high level of carbohydrates. High.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I'll do that. And then if I'm doing 2 meals a day, guess what? That 1,200 is usually broken up
Mm.
into two. So maybe 600 or maybe 700, and then the remaining for the evening meal. It's usually like that. But I normally don't venture off from the 1,200 too often. Like I know my body has adjusted to that. It'll
Yeah.
let me know, okay, this is the cutoff. We're good. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do those meals look like typically? Like what kind of what are you eating in terms of fruit, vegetables? Because you mentioned both fruits and vegetables. So what are some of your favorite foods and what do you normally have for meals?
Well, right now I'm doing, because they're in season, plums, nectarines, mainly plums because they're just so good. Watermelons. I've been doing dates,
Mhm.
um, like a pre-workout type of thing. So I'll do like my dates, and then I'll do like my juicier fruits,
Mhm.
hydrated fruits.
Mhm.
But I'm like today I had peaches. I had like white peaches. So today I had some white peaches, I had some plums, and then I had like a whole lot of watermelon. So I might have to like take a little break a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. We can edit that breakout if you need to.
But that's what I had. And I ate it like maybe at 4 o'clock. So I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, good. Got time. Our interview's at 5. So I just
yeah.
like boom, 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 boom. I ate it really good. My stomach is, I don't know if you could tell, but it's going down.
It
It's
looks
going
flat
down.
from here.
Okay, it's there. It's
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
But then when I'm having my vegetable meals, I love cucumbers.
yeah,
I love carrots. I
yeah,
love carrots.
yeah,
Tomatoes, bell peppers, onions.
mhm.
I do stuff like that. Oh, and then I got into nutritional yeast. How do you
Yeah,
feel about
yeah.
nutritional?
Nooch, the Nooch. At different stages of my life, I've used it, and then I was completely abstaining from it, and then I
Yeah,
had it once when I was really low in B12, and I like felt like I was like almost like it was crack because it has supplemental B12 in it. And then
yeah,
later I discovered that that was why I thought it was crack. And so for me, it's not something I have very often, but I have it on occasion. I always like to point that out that people think it's intrinsic the B12 to it, but it is a synthetic vitamin added to it, so it is like a add-on. But
yeah,
it's cheesy. I'll say that. I like the taste, but I don't
yeah,
eat it that often.
yeah. And likewise, but I like it for the mac and cheese I told you about. I'll
Yeah,
use
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
I
what is that mac and cheese? What are you making there?
I use, but that's it. I use that. I use onion powder because I do like my dry herbs
Yeah,
and spices. I'll use cayenne pepper, garlic powder, Italian herbs, basil, mm. And then I just mix it all up together, and then I'll eat it like just as that. I don't take the time to blend or to juice. I could to make like a sauce.
hmm.
Nah, man. If I want something really quick and easy, that's what I'll do. I'll shred carrot and cucumber. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll just boom boom and done. done.
Well, the
You know,
wateriness of the cucumbers, and then you mix those stuff, it'll turn into a thick, creamy sauce by itself, I think. And yeah, I sometimes use that, especially in my my cheeses for like a pizza, or sometimes for a noodle or something like that as well.
yeah. That's cool. But then I also realized I'm very like sodium sensitive, so I
Right.
don't like to add any additional sodium, like pink Himalayan salt or sea salt or anything. I can't add it. Now the nutrition I use already has sodium in it,
Mhm.
so that's just fine for me. Like I can't add anything outside of what's in that,
Yeah.
because I noticed that I'll have like water retention.
Mhm.
Like I noticed a fluctuation in my weight. I may get a little headache. Um, yeah, I know I can't do it, so I don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So the nutritional yeast, that's it for me. Is happy. That like certain ones, the niacin level of it, it breaks me out. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, what is there? So I've decided, I've not decided. Yeah, I did technically. I decided not to use a certain brand. I think it's the Bragg's.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it Bragg's?
They have added salt in some of them anyway. No, at least the like
Yeah,
garlic cheesy ones and stuff like that. I think it's Red
yeah.
Star, one of the more common ones.
Yeah, I have to keep it really simple. I got to keep it really simple because my body's gonna tell me that's not it. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I gotta keep it simple. But that's about all that I do. The tomatoes and celery, all that has its own natural sodium.
Yeah.
So you don't need to add anything to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
One,
I feel the same way. When you get enough of those, you're not craving salt, and it's so much more even for your body, and you don't
right,
sweat like salt sweat that just burns your eyes and stuff like that. So much nicer.
so much nicer. I'm gonna ask you something. What are your thoughts on tomato powder, ground tomato powder?
I think it's a really versatile ingredient for making sauces or adding to dishes to make it more savory and umami, and I mean whether it's powder or sun-dried tomatoes, great.
Right.
Most of the time I'm pretty thrifty, so I just get tomatoes on discount and then dry them, myself, and just use the whole dried tomatoes. But it's essentially the
Yeah.
same thing. It's just dried powdered tomatoes, right?
Right, exactly. For me, I'm all about convenience.
Mhm.
So I just stumbled across the powdered tomatoes, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna ask Chris what he thinks about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna use it. I haven't bought any yet. Maybe you can tell me a good company, a good brand. But anyway, that's a sidebar. That was a commercial break, my man.
Yeah. I have a chef friend who uses it a bunch, and I know she did share with me where she got it. So I'll forward that to you afterwards, and maybe I'll put it in the show notes at the bottom once I figure that out as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, for sure.
Sorry, viewers.
They'll probably be
That was
stoked for it, to be honest. They'll be like, "Oh, cool, that's something to see," and it's not an affiliate link or anything. We didn't plan this. It's just actually came up. Um, So I'm curious, you mentioned, like it sounds mostly like full food, seasonal produce, juicy fruits, and sometimes some dried fruits and all that kind of good stuff. And you also mentioned
yeah.
some veggies and fruit veggies. So do you usually kind of sequence those, like, have you mentioned some dates and then have some juicy fruits and stuff like that, and then have your salad or, fruit salad, whatever it might be afterwards, or what does that kind of look like?
Exactly. So on the weekends, it'll be divided like that. I'll have my whole foods, fruits in the morning or around that time, 11 to 1, 12 to 2.
Yeah.
And then later that evening, say like 6 or 7 is when I'll have, my salad meal.
Yeah, when you have
Yeah.
more chill time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So when you were on other styles of eating, on a vegan diet or the more blood type diet, were you eating similar caloric intakes, or did you find you were eating more at those times, or has it always been pretty steady?
I was eating way more
Yeah.
because I thought I needed to.
Yeah.
I did. I didn't understand my body's natural, how can I say, faucet, turn on, turn off. I didn't understand my body's natural limits, of what it needed. And so I was eating way more than what I actually needed, for sure.
Yeah.
I was eating maybe 2,000 calories, 2,100, maybe 22. I was eating way more because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask how tall you are?
I'm five. I round it up and I say 5'4" because the doctors say 5'4", but technically I'm 5'3" and three quarters.
I know, I appreciate that because I'm I'm 6'1.5" or maybe 6'1.6", I often say that. And I've been raw for 19.5 years, but I'd rather say 20. You always want to round up, right? But sometimes you want to be exact too.
Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, 5'3", three quarters.
Yeah. Yeah. So so when you first started talking with Dr. Graham, was there any talks about protein? And I know some people, they're really concerned about it, especially within bodybuilding. Was that anything you guys talked about specifically?
Yeah, we did. But Dr. G is just so convincing. And when he talks, he makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just does. And I was like, I wasn't concerned. I'm sure I did ask the question, but he made the comment, and this is not verbatim, but he made the comment something like, just whole foods, it takes care of itself. The protein will take care of itself. And I said, yeah, that does make sense. I guess it will, huh? And that was it. Like I kept on moving. That was it.
And you've still been seeing gains and you're still feeling great and you're not protein deficient yet.
No, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. I really, really do. I don't know what else is there. But Chris, man, I had those watermelons and I would love to do a part 2, but I have to take a potty break. All right, I'm back.
You feel better?
Yes.
Now imagine if you had some 80-10-10 diapers. We could have just went straight through.
Oh my God. I don't know how comfortable I would be just sitting in it though, Chris. I don't know how comfortable.
Don't worry, he would design them perfectly. You wouldn't be sitting in it.
Perfectly.
There'd be something dehydrated in there, ready to suck it all up.
Ready? Oh my God.
I'm just joking. Maybe we'll cut this all off,
Oh my God. But okay. Yes, I'm back.
So what's in the future for you? Do you have any competitions lined up? Do you have any big goals for the next year, 2 years with competition or with your training? What's going on there?
Great question. So there's a show, it's not a natural show, but again, that's one of my goals is to get my pro card in IFBB, while being raw vegan. That's a goal of mine.
What was that again? The IFBB or what?
IFBB.
IFBB. And what does that stand for again?
International Fitness Bodybuilding.
Okay. Yeah.
International Fitness or International Federation of Bodybuilding. That's it. International Federation of Bodybuilding. IFBB.
Okay. And you have your pro card with, I have it here, with Fitness Universe Federation.
There you go, Chris. There you go.
Yeah. So what's the difference between the two federations then?
Yeah, so one is drug tested, one is not.
Oh, okay.
The one, they don't discriminate against supplements.
Yeah.
And the other do. So you could you won't qualify to compete if you are tested negative or tested positive in a natural show. Yeah. Or if you used to compete in a natural show and you tested positive, you could potentially lose your title.
Yeah. But so you already got your pro card in the one that doesn't test, but you want to get your pro card in the one that does test.
I have my pro card and vice versa, and the one that does test.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that, I mean, to me, that sounds like even more impressive, being 5th in a competition that doesn't test. So, people will be on whatever supplements. So what does it take to qualify or to get your pro card in the other federation? What do you have to do?
You just got to be the best of the best. Depends on who shows up for that competition for that day, really. Ultimately, just being a bodybuilder, you're in competition with yourself.
Yeah.
But reality wise, if you want to win, you have to be the best that's on stage.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know
Yeah.
who's going to show up. You got to do whatever you have to do for you, and just know that you're making gains from the previous show or from the previous year.
Yeah.
And which can be hard to maintain. That's why people supplement, because maintaining that muscle mass is hard.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it in a natural way, that's where the science part comes in, because now you have to figure out, okay, so when do I take in a certain amount of calories, or, you know, higher than my 1200? When do I take in this amount of calories? When do I pull back from these amount of calories? And when do I revisit just, how can I say, when do I have my little, I call it carb teas, where you just eat just enough carbs right before the show to, you know, round out the muscles, you know, just to get
Get that glycogen pumping a little bit. And carb teas, geez, that is pretty funny. I've never heard of a carb teas before, but I like it.
Yeah, carb teas. Yeah,
it's sweet. It's a sweet teas.
Little teas, just a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is a science figuring that out, and seeing how your body responds to it. I've been doing it for a little while now, and so I realize how my body responds. But one thing Dr. D taught me was you never compromise your fitness. Never compromise. So whether your calories are low or if it's high, you don't compromise. You still go as hard as you would if it was a high day, but you're doing a low day calorie, right?
Yeah.
You never compromise that. You always want to aim for improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do still have some sort of bulking and cutting to some degree, but it sounds like it's pretty much with the same foods. It's just eating a little bit more than the 1200 on some days, and a little bit less when you're really cutting before the competition for a few days, but still carb teas a little bit to round those muscles out when you get there. Is that about right?
Right. That's about right. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you foresee going for this next competition?
So what I was gonna say is there's a show happening next month. I don't know. If I get some sponsorships, then I think I might quit. I don't know. But
how much are these to enter? Are they expensive?
Well, yes, they're an investment. It's an investment. Yeah. Yeah, you have to pay for your suit. Your suit can go, it depends on, you know, how you want to show up on stage. For me, I want to be my best. I want people to see that, okay, she's nothing to play with. But yeah, so like a suit, I would say, if you want a really good suit, can go $250, $300 to maybe $550, $600 for a suit. And it depends on how many categories you're in, because if you're in multiple categories, in the natural federation, you can have multiple categories, but in the unnatural category federation, you can't participate in more than one division. So for instance, say if you are, well then let me take that back, because I was at a show and I saw some girls who were doing bikini and they ended up doing like wellness as well. So that's not true. You can do multiple categories, even in the untested shows. But with me saying that, you have to have a different suit, because every division requires a different bikini. Yeah. So if you're in more than one division, then you have to, that's more money. That could be like $1,200 just for 2 suits, or $1,000 for 2 suits. You know what I mean? And then you have to have your makeup, your hair, your shoes, your jewelry, your tan. Even with my complexion, I still have to get a tan, because you want a certain color. You want to have a certain color on stage so that your muscles can really show up under the lights. So you got to have your tan. What'd you say?
The really bronzing kind of stuff?
Yeah. Bronzing. But it's a tan.
Yeah.
It's not even a bronze, it's a tan. because you're like several shades darker than what you actually are, like several shades darker. Yeah, what else is there? Then you have to pay for your hotel if it's out of, if it's not local, you got to pay for your hotel, your commute, your travel expense, which can be a bit much. If you have a photographer, you got to pay for that, which you would want to get some good photos taken, right? So you have the photos for the show. Food while you're away, if it's not local. So there's a lot that goes into it for sure. And then you have to pay for your training. If you're not training yourself, you got to pay for your nutritionist, your meal plan, your workout regimen, your coach, you got to pay for all of that. And that can be expensive.
Absolutely.
So, I mean.
Good thing you got that covered for yourself now.
Yes, it's a great thing.
Yeah,
great thing.
Absolutely.
It adds up. It's up for sure. Well, but there's another show.
Yeah.
In November, which is a natural show that I'm thinking about doing. So there's a potential show that's not natural, that's next month. And then there's a show that is natural in November that I'm probably going to go to. And that's in California though.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got to go almost half across the country then, or more than that.
Yeah, I did. It would be fun if I did.
That's a good time to go to Cali anyway, isn't it?
November?
Yeah, well, I mean, compared to where you're at for the weather, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm in South North Carolina. The weather's pretty warm usually throughout the year. Our winters aren't really real winters.
No, okay.
We don't really get too cold of a winter. Every once in a while, we may get some snow. Very small amounts of snow.
It doesn't stick.
It doesn't really stick. A couple years back, it did stick. It stayed for a little bit. Stayed for a few days. But that's a rare occasion. We don't really get snow like that. But it'll just be nice to visit the Cali.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love Cali, and I don't know why. For some reason, I was thinking it was more like New York winter there, and that can be pretty cold.
Heavens no! Heavens no! No. Heavens no! No.
Well, everyone listening out there here, then, if you want to help out and sponsor Z to smash these records,
Yes. Check me out. Sure, more than appreciated.
I'm excited for you to smash those, and both in the natural and in the open categories. That's really, really, I think, inspiring, and I think this is going to help a lot of people too, and dispel a lot of myths, right? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that think, raw vegans are just thin and can't gain muscle. And more recently, I've heard, the same specifically for women, that women, they can't gain muscle on raw food, and they just get really thin, and they must eat way more protein to gain muscle. And it doesn't sound like it's really been your experience.
No, Chris, check it out, Chris.
You got me beat, definitely. And I mean, I love it. You're shredded. But wait a second, you must be sipping back some protein powders every single day. Are you taking protein powders? What brand do you recommend?
What are you so hilarious? You're hilarious. None of that, man. No. You know what, Dr. D? I think I asked Dr. D about they have raw protein powders now, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it, but there may be a few now.
Yeah.
Anywho, I asked Dr. D about it. I love Dr. D because he keeps things real. He keeps it simple.
Yeah.
And he was like, can you go outside and get it from your backyard? I was like, no, Dr. D, I can't get it from my backyard. I have to go to certain people within knows it's not natural.
Yeah.
It's not natural. Because you're not able to get it from your backyard. Oh, you're right. So that was it. And which also made me think about the nutritional yeast. Because he said the same thing. All these things, like, you get it from, can you pluck it from the ground? Can you pluck it from a tree? And I was like, no, no, I can't. So yeah.
Unless you got a molasses factory, then maybe you can pluck it from your molasses factory. But
But that's the factory, right?
yeah. But it sounds
But
like the cheese has got you good enough. They're like, okay, maybe I'll listen to you about the protein powder, but that cheesy vegetable shreds. Sorry, Dr. D, I gotta have those. Don't worry, I have a couple of my own things. I eat some noni, and occasionally I mix dates with tomatoes, a few things he frowns upon, but we gotta have our own, and we enjoy what we enjoy, right?
yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But what about, oh, let me ask you about what's your take on kelp noodles?
Well, I enjoy them from time to time.
Yeah,
They are a natural source of iodine. They are more
yeah,
processed than you'd think. Like when you look at them, I initially thought like, oh, well, maybe it's just like the kelp and they peel it off, or that's like the actual noodles. But as I understand it, they are kind of formed. Um, I know some people are really down on them, and other people think they're the best. I'm kind of in the middle ground. Like I probably wouldn't
yeah.
base my diet off of them, but having them once in a while, I enjoy the heck out of them. I feel good eating them. They don't feel bad in my body, and I know that they have some nutrients that are a little bit more dense in there than in other raw foods I'm eating. So I think they can be a fun complement. And I kind of feel a little bit the same with seaweeds, but there are other seaweeds I eat a little more often. Like I enjoy quality dulse, from places that test their seaweeds to make sure they're not radioactive or have heavy metals.
Okay.
I like nori. I specifically
Yeah.
get from a place called rawnori.com because they're tested and it's certified raw and vegan. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I enjoy those. It's funny. I wasn't introduced to kelp noodles until I went to a raw vegan cafe in LA. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy texture and tastes amazing. And then I didn't see
Yeah.
it in stores for years and years. And now I can see it in stores all the time. So I bet you I have it about between 2 and 5 times a year. And when I do, I really enjoy it. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've had them before and I do like them.
Yeah.
I think they're great with like if you're making like a soup,
Yeah.
um a, right?
Yeah.
I think they're really great for those type of meals. They remind me of like spaghetti or something like that. But yeah, I don't have them too often because, Dr. G is imprinted in my
He's in there.
brain. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's imprinted. He's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, technically it is raw, right?
Yeah.
And technically it's not cooked, but it's not in its truest form.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. But every once in a while, I may do it, like maybe like you, 2 to 5 times within the year. And I think also because I've come to a place where variety isn't a big deal for me. Like I'm fine with eating like the same stuff and having the mentality of what's in season. So if this is in
Yeah.
season, this is the norm. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy and content with that. And
Yeah.
so I don't really seek out too much of a diversity. I mean, I think it's great to have versatile meals, but I don't really seek for it. Not really. You know what I mean?
Nature presents it. I always like Dr. Graham saying, like simplicity of the meal and variety over the seasons in the year, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's what I do too. I really like to enjoy the fruit when it's in its season, and then as it kind of shifts, you get new variety, and also
Yeah,
tastes change, right? It's like I really am digging cucumbers right now, but next month all of a sudden I just want nonstop tomatoes, or I want to be going into a couple kelp noodle dishes, or it all switches up, right?
yeah, right. And that's cool. That's cool. And then that also, like, again, this holistic mindset and lifestyle just makes you again more just creates a better relationship with your food and with yourself, how to have patience
Mhm.
and things that average population don't really think about. I'm
That's
just
true.
saying.
Yeah.
They want that instant gratification and that conveniency, instant gratification. Now,
Yeah.
I like my conveniency, which I think being raw vegan is the most convenient thing there is.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
the quickest stuff in the world. So it's nature's fast food, right?
exactly. It's great.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, so the cup noodles, I'm cool with them. I just don't do them that often, but I like them.
Yeah. When I have them most often, I have them, and then I also shred up some Napa cabbage, and maybe I throw some bean sprouts or some shredded carrots, and maybe even some dehydrated mushroom slices, and then I make like kind of a Thai sauce or a curry sauce, and mix it all together. Then it's like both kelp and some veggie noodles, and it all mixes together
Mm,
and has all those different textures and flavors, and I love it that way.
that sounds really good. I saw some of your stuff. I'm trying to stay on topic, and I'm trying not to like ask you a lot of questions. But I did see a lot of some of your stuff, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, some really pretty cool recipes going on. I saw your lasagna.
Yeah, yeah. I got some mean lasagna and lots of pastas and pizzas and stews. I'm known for pizzas and stews and yeah, lots of fun stuff.
I was like, listen, those things look really, really delicious, but they would have to be for like maybe a holiday
Yeah.
or I got a special event. I got some friends coming over. They know nothing about raw food. All right, I'm about to really blow their minds. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
I
that's pretty dope.
I just had two chefs over for the weekend and it was kind of funny. They wrote in advance saying like we should have a pizza party and I'll bring a pizza and maybe you make a pizza or two. And I was like, I don't know if I really feel like making anything. I'm kind of a lazy chef. But then I was like, oh, okay, they're bringing a pizza and like they're friends. I'm gonna make some pizzas. So ended up making four pizzas over the weekend. But those are the first four pizzas I think I've made this year. I'm pretty sure maybe I made another one, but I'm kind of a lazy chef. I can make a lot of stuff and I've over the years made tons and tons to make recipe books, but at the same time, like you're talking before about people treating themselves, but it's kind of amazing because most people, when they treat themselves, they're actually also torturing and tormenting themselves with foods that don't really treat them back how they think, is treating them. But
Right.
the beautiful thing is, at least with, raw lasagnas, raw pizzas, sure, maybe it's not quite like having just like a nice meal of some really fresh seasonal fruit and some cucumbers, but it is still, treating yourself in a very loving way, right? And
Yeah,
it can
right,
be fun to
right,
do
right.
that. It can be fun to do
Yeah,
that.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Like, unfortunately, where I am, there are some raw vegan restaurants, or at least some restaurants that serve raw vegan food.
Yeah.
But again, the sodium level,
Yeah. Oh,
I
it's
have,
super high.
yeah, I got to think about that, and then like, the fat content. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing any fast right now, but maybe in the future. But every single time, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like the recipes, they do be looking really good, but I'm like, is it really worth it? Because I don't want to get a headache from the sodium content. You know what I mean? And my body's just that sensitive. Your recipes, I want to try out one or two for the holidays.
Yeah.
Because my family, they look at me like, oh wow. There's sometimes they still look at me like I'm an alien,
Yeah.
but but other times they're curious though. They're curious.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, she's obviously thriving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Her energy's good. She seems happy.
Yeah.
She seems, like she's doing something right. So obviously it's working. But deep down I know that they're like still curious as to how am I able to do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever opportunity I get to share with other people, raw food, like my family, I try to take advantage of that to give them that experience to say, oh, well, try this. You might like it. You know what I mean? And they end up loving it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's fun to share. And just so you know, all my recipes are salt free. I don't use salt in any of them, so they're low sodium. And I have lots of fat free recipes too. So you can find some with or without, and we can always rap about that. I could give you a hand selection of some of my favorites if you want some time. But
Nice.
awesome to hear
Very cool.
you look like you might enjoy some. About your
Yeah,
website, I'm
that's
curious,
really
what can people expect to see there, and are you sharing, like your results, and will we be able to stay tuned with you on there, or what's going on your website?
Oh yeah, I guess we're wrapping things up now. Okay, so
Oh no,
on
oh
my
no.
so on my website, you're gonna find just a list of services that I provide.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a lot of before and after pictures of my clients in the past. Their weight journey. Things like that is what you're gonna find. Just a different approach to weight loss and health and nutrition. Just a different approach. Yeah.
That's
There's just
awesome.
so much
That's
to talk
awesome.
about. I feel there's just so much to talk about because I love my lifestyle and I love being able to share that with other people so they can see what that looks like. You know what I mean? From the outside in. Yeah. Because normally, people wouldn't know that, oh, well, that I'm raw vegan. They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. I don't advertise it. I mean, maybe I could get some t-shirts and that says, you know what I mean? And I could do that, but I don't advertise it in that way.
Yeah.
Maybe I should think about that. I don't know.
It's fun.
But yeah.
It's fun. I wear a lot of my own stuff. I mean, I got my peace, love, and seasonal fruit T-shirt on right here, right? And I tell you, people, they smile, they ask questions, all that kind of stuff, and I have the same kind of thing, especially like people ask questions and wonder, like, so you don't eat anything cooked, but of course you eat, like fish, or of course you eat this, like no, I don't, like, but of course you eat milk, like no, just fruits and vegetables. And when I tell them how long I've been doing it, then usually they're like, what? Like, really? No, like, you must be lying. And it's really fun, and it's awesome to see people's eyes light up and gears working, and questions, as long as they're not snide, rude comments, but sometimes that happens too.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you know something? Whenever I get a comment like that, I think I just show them my abs.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have questions? Okay, boom. And I show them.
I actually, I do the same with my abs. I got some decent abs. And when people ask about protein, I usually do show them my bicep. I got a little bit here, right? It's but it's the funnest, it's the simplest answer, right? Like, I mean, what are you going to say to a gorilla or like a chimpanzee? It's like, yeah, rip your arms off, right? And
exactly, right. So I'm like, okay, the proof is in the pudding. Just saying, not well. There's raw vegan pudding, but yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
I got some banana commander pudding. It's pretty good.
Ooh, is it on your website?
Yeah, I got it on my website and on my free app, and I got a fun one. It's banana fennel rice pudding. You take fennel, just the white bottom part. It's really nice and licoricey, and you shred it, with a grater into like a rice. And then you just blend up some bananas or just squish bananas and mix it all together. And it's like a rice pudding, but it's like a banana licoricey rice pudding. And sounds kind of funny, but I tell you, it's pretty damn amazing. And fennel's quite nutritious and delicious. And it's, a lot of people don't eat it, but it's a fun way to add a different green and a different texture and flavor into your routine.
So your bananas, they're ripe, right? And then you shred the bottom. Yeah, and then you just shred, and then you just combine the two, just mix it up.
Yeah, like when I'm making a banana pudding, and sounds kind of funny, but like if you just take some ripe bananas and you blend them, it's a totally different experience than if you take some bananas, peel them, throw in a bowl, and you mash them with your hands. There's something about your hands mashing them. The texture is different, the flavor is different, the whole feeling is different, the connection to the bananas is different. And then you just add, shredded fennel bulb, like just the white part, into that and mix it all up. It's pretty unreal. It's really tasty.
Huh.
And if you don't like licorice, then you maybe wouldn't like it. But if you kind of like a licoricey flavor, then you. So I'm curious, is there anything that you specifically kind of want to leave people with? Anything kind of inspiring, anything that really shifted your perspective, or something that can get people's fire up and let them know that they can, bust it out in the gym and feel and look their best no matter their physique goals while being a raw foodist?
I would say at the end of the day, listen to your body.
Yeah.
If you are curious and you're being really inquisitive about raw veganism, then there's a reason. and it should be explored.
Yeah.
So just follow your intuition, explore raw veganism, and it can be one recipe at a time, or, you know, one meal at a time of raw veganism. But explore your curiosity of raw veganism to whatever percentage or degree that may be, and stay optimistic about what it's supposed to look like. Stay optimistic and just trust yourself. Yeah. But definitely follow that road, follow that path of curiosity. Because if you're being curious, there's a reason for it, and you need to explore what that is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Stay curious, explore. I absolutely love it. And so people can find you on your website if they want to do some coaching to learn more about yourself and how they can achieve their fitness goals and thrive with raw veganism. That's something you offer as well on your website?
Yeah, so strategically, I don't say that my meal plans and everything are raw vegan, because technically they're not fully raw. I operate on, I like to, how can I say, work with everyone.
Yeah.
One of my goals is to, again, introduce it to people so that it's not intimidating, where they're like, oh, I could never be completely raw. Well, never say never, and try a little bit at a time. Like I was saying before, start implementing it in your lifestyle, little bit by bit, bit by bit, little by little, and see what happens. You be your own judge as to how your body feels. You should know what's best for you, and not anyone else, but you should know what's best for you. Listen to what your body's saying to you, and then obey that, right? And so I work with everyone. So I work with, carnivores, you can be vegetarian, whatever you are, whatever you claim to be, that's fine. But I implement raw veganism into your meal plan based on how comfortable you are. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some people, they want to go all the way, and we go all the way. But, I don't make it intimidating for people. I don't make it intimidating because, again, I want you to have a takeaway. I want you to say, you know what? I tried it. This is how I felt. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever the takeaway from that is, so be it. Right. But I want you to experience some level of it.
Yeah.
So I work with everyone. I don't discriminate.
Meeting people where they're at, but planting that seed with room to grow if they want, or helping them wherever they want to go.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Well, I got to say, Z, it's been a definite pleasure. I really want to thank you for spending this time with me. I know we went a little longer than we maybe thought, but it's been a heck of a lot of fun. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your night, and to connect again soon. I'm really excited for you for the upcoming competitions. And, I don't know if you can make like raw advantage swimwear and stuff like that. I could have a sponsorship, pitch in with something there. We can maybe talk more about something like that. I have bottoms, but maybe they wouldn't work, but yeah, I have ooh baby, I like it raw panties, but they maybe aren't part of the swimsuit competition. That might not quite work,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Hey, you want to give some sponsorship? I will receive.
Yeah.
I will receive.
We'll connect in the back. And sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying thank you for your time as well. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And if I ever want to do it again, something else, let me know as well. And I'll let you know too. I'll email you about the tomatoes and that we talked about earlier, and I'll put that information below, as well as all of your social media and your website and all that stuff, so people can find you really easily.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. It's been great.
Absolute pleasure. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope you guys check out Z and all she has to offer, and join you in another video. Much peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
Bye.
Z, professional raw vegan bodybuilder. Busting protein myths.
Ooh,
Ooh, don't forget to check out my raw recipes playlist in the top left, the video just for you in the top right, subscribe for more videos in the bottom right, and get your 3 free ebooks in the bottom left. Grab your free raw recipe app available on iPhone and Android with over 100 free raw recipes, common fruit and vegetable calorie breakdown, frickin' raw food combining chart, shopping cart function, and so much more.